All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. This is episode 13. Really feeling blessed and privileged to be able to spend the next 30 or so minutes with you all this evening. Episode 13. Episode 14. I'm sorry, episode 14. I just sent out episode 13. Episode 14. The weeks are just rolling through, trying to get to week number 52. This is just the beginning. We're building an amazing community. I really appreciate everyone that has shared the podcast, the episodes that we do have up on YouTube. And I appreciate the folks that took action. And that offer is still on the table. If you haven't shared the podcast yet, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, if you haven't commented, please take a moment to do that. And what I have thrown in for you is a copy of my first e-manual that was published. Actually published two ebook and an e-manual. You all have an opportunity to grab that at no cost. The e-manual was published in 2010. It has sold for upwards of $997. You get that absolutely free. And there's an ebook in there. And there's also some training videos and some audio training and some downloads from contracts to documents needed to start a real estate investing business. So make sure if you're just logging on, you watch the replay. But I am still giving away the free e-manual. It's no longer on the market. I'm just giving it away to people that take action. So I'm going to talk a little bit about mindset today. We're going to talk about rehabbing houses. I love the engagement, like the folks that really answer my text. Like I'm really sending you a text from my cell phone. So some people say, is this a mass text? No, like I'm really sending you a text. And for the folks that, already know that I'm sending the text, know that I'm going to respond if you give me some time. But I appreciate the folks that responded to one of the texts I sent out this week. And I'm actually going to go through some of your responses, if not all of them. But I would love for more of you to respond. There are about 380 people in my contacts within the Freedom and Wealth Seekers community. It is a growing community. Every month, we're adding new people to our community. But my goal is to get it past 10,000 one day, and we may have to use a different text message platform when that happens. But this is going to continue to evolve and grow. People have asked more about mentorship. People have asked if I'm going to have any programs. You asked about the live training that I'm going to hold at one of my rehab projects. So I'll be rolling out new information about all the different programs. Right now, the application is open if you are interested in some type of mentorship. We have a 3-month program, a 6-month program, a 12-month program, and a 24-month student partnership program. You can go to my Instagram page. You can click the link in my bio and you can fill out an application. But we're going to talk about Will and Chris today. We're going to talk about real estate, of course. That's what the main focus is with the Freedom and Wealth Seekers, building wealth through real estate. Direct Mail Wednesday. I always like to share a new marketing piece. So I'm going to critique a marketing piece that I like that may surprise you when you see it. So this is episode 14 for everybody that just logged on. Let me go through a quick announcement as far as the disclaimer and the intro. Again, folks, welcome to the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast, where we pride ourselves on sharing and informing and educating our growing community with actionable information, content, and resources that will help you experience results. the resource that was shared yesterday. I hope everybody was able to bookmark that site, affordablehousing.org. That site I've been using for over 10 years now. It's a great resource. If you missed last week's podcast, just go to your text message. I put the link in. And at the end of that podcast, I go into a strategy on how to use that platform. Disclaimer, folks, remember to do your own research, and my content is intended to be used for informational and sometimes entertainment purposes only. It is very important that you do your own due diligence before making any investments based on your own personal financial circumstances. You should research and verify anything that I say and consult with a licensed professional as you move forward. So, I mean, the biggest news, of today, it's starting to die down on social media is what happened during the Oscars. I didn't even know the Oscars was taking place. I guess I'm out the loop with those types of things. But that night, a friend of mine shared a video. I was like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And immediately I thought it was like fake. I thought it was fake. And then I watched it a few times. And then when I heard Will Smith say those words, and it's crazy, we just brought Will Smith up on the Freedom and Wealth Seekers podcast. For years I still want to bring Will Smith to one of my platforms, and I would love to interview Will Smith. But what happened, I'm going to give you my view on it, my take. And if you don't know, you're going to know, but I'm sure everybody knows. Chris Rock, as we all know, at any award show, he's always cracking, on the audience, and most of the audience are his peers. So he said something about Jada Pinkett, who happened to be from Baltimore, my hometown, and it didn't go well. She definitely had a look on her face that she didn't appreciate the joke, and Will Smith was laughing, and then all of a sudden he gets up and walks up to Chris Rock and smacks Chris Rock. And then turns around, goes back to a seat and has some verbal words, some words for him at the same time. So the whole time I'm thinking like, this ain't real, okay? And I looked at it like probably 20 times. And then you see Will Smith go and give an apology to the Academy and his peers, but he didn't apologize to Chris Rock, right? So I look at things two ways. Like, I look at things for entertainment, and I look at things sometimes as real. And sometimes, and I look from a business perspective, like I do with any type of news. I look for the opportunity or a nugget that I can pull from it. And as a business person, I as just a regular, someone that watches entertainment, a regular guy that just watches entertainment, I wasn't even aware of the Oscars. And from my recollection, the Oscars has been getting bad press for the last 5 years. Okay. So they hire a African-American, someone that looks like me, to produce the show this year. This is my conspiracy theory. I'm thinking that they cut a lot of checks to get their ratings up, and they gave maybe creative control to Will Packer, the guy. I'm just, assuming this. This isn't facts at all, but there's a strong chance it could have been staged because no security came up. Like, nobody from the team at the Oscars stepped out there. There was nothing. It was like part of the show. And when you think about it, right? I mean, common sense. You got a room full of actors. You got the best actors in the world: Denzel Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, Tyler Perry. These are some of the best creators. Will Smith, Bradley Cooper, some of the best creators in the world in one room. Jada Pinkett. She hasn't done much lately, but she's a great actress, right? So I'm thinking this is staged because nobody talks about the Oscars anymore. Nobody really talks. I mean, when you talk about the Oscars, you talk about the red carpet. You don't talk about what's who won and things of that nature. So that kind of threw me off. But then when you peel back the layers, yes, we know about Will and Jada and what they've been going through. And then Will published a book, and I think like in the first chapter, he talks about how he experienced trauma in his household and he wasn't able to help the women of his household. So it makes you wonder, like, this could have been like a breaking point for Will Smith. But then you look back at the relationship. Well, the relationship that we see as viewers, Chris Rock and Will Smith Chris Rock was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Chris Rock and Will Smith are known to be friends, and they take a lot of pictures together over the years. So who knows? It could have been something else that ticked them off, or who knows? At the end of the day, we don't know what the truth is. If was it real or was it entertainment? And at the end of the day, I'm leaning more to the entertainment. Chris Rock, and when you look at the business side of it, nobody really was talking about Chris Rock lately. Chris Rock's on tour right now. I didn't even know that until this incident. And I hear his ticket sales went through the roof. They're sold out everywhere. So, business is business at the end of the day. Perception is perception. Who knows? Okay, but we must move on. All right. But that's just my take on the Chris Rock and Will Smith Oscar feud. So, Rehabbing Houses. I sent out a text earlier this week, and I want to go through what I sent out here. And it was a simple question. There was no wrong answer. All of you that participated in that question really did a great job answering. I asked a question: what do you think the first phase of rehabbing a house is? Okay, so Alex says the first phase, we are happy, and it's evaluation time. Time to evaluate. So absolutely, first phase, when you get the house finally, when you finally get your first deal, you are happy, right? But then you have to evaluate things once you get that house. And I'm thinking you're saying get the house under contract. Once you get the house under contract, control the property. You have a due diligence period. You can get your contractors in. You can start getting estimates. You may have to get an architect in, depending on the type of project. But that's one of the answers I received. Then Shanita, she gave a good answer. She says, clear out all items in the property. Okay, definitely. One of the first things that we do once we settle on a property is, or before settlement sometimes, and I'll talk about that briefly, but we want to clear out personal items that the owner left behind. If it's before settlement, we let the owner know, like, we would like to start work the day of settlement. So do you have a time frame of when you are going to clear the property? Okay. And then we also sometimes offer help. Okay. Because once you settle, your opponent is time and the market. So we're hoping, you got to understand, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows when the economy is going to go up, if gas prices are going to continue to soar, if the interest rate is going to continue to soar. So we're working against time. So we want to save as much time as we can. So if we can get things done before settlement, we will. So as long as the title work looks good, okay, meaning the property we're able to settle on the property, well, and we have to get the green light from our title company, we'll maybe invest a few $100s to maybe get a moving company in or pay for storage for the seller for like the first 30 or 60 days and have them put their things in storage. Now, a lot of the properties that I'm personally buying right now, there aren't any personal items left behind. They're junkers. These properties are more than a fixer upper. These are full rehabs. Okay. So clearing out the property, we're taking out all the old flooring, all the old carpet, we're taking down the walls. We're pretty much getting the property in a state of a shell. It's nothing but brick to brick to brick to brick. There's four walls, okay? And we may save if we can salvage the roof and the beams inside, but everything else comes out. All plumbing, all electrical, everything, the windows, everything comes out of the property. So Shanita, that was a great point you made. Ms. P says a cost analysis, absolutely. So, and this is the thing, your first project, when you're renovating a house, it may be hard for you to come up with an estimated cost analysis, cost of expenses, like as far as materials. Materials, they go up and down. You know, every quarter, the price could change. They could go up, they could go down. Sometimes, for instance, for appliances, at the end of your project, you put appliances in your house. Well, the last house you renovated, you may have gotten a great deal or a scratch and dent deal, and that price was extremely low. Like one of my last rehabs, I spent $2,500. This is unheard of for a stainless steel stove, stainless steel microwave hood, stainless steel dishwasher, stainless steel refrigerator. Okay, that's unheard of. That's at least $4,500. We got that scratch and dent for $2,500. Now, do I recommend scratch and dent for properties that you're renovating to sell? It all depends on where the scratch and dent is. So luckily, these scratch and dent items, they're on places of the appliance that you can't see. The open eye can't see. You have to pull it out, and there's maybe a ding on the side or a scratch on the back or something like that. So cost analysis, that's what I do recommend. You can come up with a good average, but sometimes your prices are going to be more than others, but they should be around the same. So start writing down when your Home Depot receipts, your Lowe's receipts, the vendors that you use for flooring. Some of you may not like the Lowe's light fixtures or the Home Depot light fixtures. You're going to need to start writing those costs down for the houses that you will be renovating. Okay, so with the cost analysis, it kind of gives you a baseline for the next project. Like you can start coming up with predictive cost analysis and knowing your numbers. Like if I'm doing a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,800 square feet, I know on just finishing materials, I'm going to be spending anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000. Okay, I'm just hypothetically throwing that out there because you know your numbers. You keep record of all your numbers. Okay. Let's see. Someone else sent an answer here. Tony says making sure that the rehab cost is clear across the board. So he could be meaning a couple of different things, right? So with a rehab, you got a lot of different costs. You got acquisition costs, okay? Okay, acquisition costs, that's going to be like closing costs. That's going to be points depending on the type of loan. Most new investors or most new rehabbers, they usually don't use their own money. They are going to use somebody else's money. And with that, you get charged points. You also have closing costs depending on the lender. They usually make you come to the table with closing costs for the loan. You also have other fees associated with the settlement. And sometimes they're out-of-pocket fees. You also have a draw schedule, and that goes into your scope of work. And that, again, this piggybacks on the cost analysis. Your draw schedule is usually broken into 3 or 4 draws. It should always be, my norm is 3 to 4 draws. But that first draw, if it's 25, 30,000, guess what? You have to put up the money to get to that first draw. Okay. So a quick nugget for you all. If you do your draw schedule, your first draw you really don't want your first draw to be more than your second. Okay. So let's just say it's $100,000 rehab. Your first draw may be, let's just say $20,000. You want to make sure your numbers on your first draw add up to 20K, but you want to get that work done for, say, 10K. Okay, so if it's demolition, if it's new roof, if it's waterproofing the basement, and these aren't real numbers I'm giving you, it's hypotheticals, you want to be either 50 to 60% less than what the first draw is. So when you're done those items, roof, demolition, waterproofing, you can start framing, like framing the first floor or second floor. Then you ask the lender for the first draw. So now they're giving you more than what you initially put up. Okay. And now you create a cash flow for your project. Okay. Cash isn't scarce, it's at abundance, even though you did put up your initial 10,000 to get to the first draw. I hope that made sense. If that made sense, I don't want to confuse anybody here. If that made sense, put a yes in the chat. Okay. Stephanie says securing the house. Yes. Stephanie, now I believe Stephanie is meaning, thank you for the folks that put yes in the chat. That means you're learning, you're comprehending what I'm sharing with you. Stephanie says securing the house. Absolutely. Okay, that can mean a couple of different things, but I'm pretty sure me and her are on the same page, because when you're rehabbing a house, sometimes your house is unsecured. Okay, especially in the demolition phase. So you got to know where you're rehabbing. So if it's a block where there's children, you want to make sure you have a fence out back, so they can't gain access to the property. Okay, because during the demolition phase, we're taking everything out. Okay, it's a construction site. You have to secure that site. If there is a door, if there's not a door, if you bought a boarded up house and there's not a door, well, you want to buy a temporary door so nobody can get in and out. If you take the windows out of the property, you want to make sure you board up the windows at the end of business. Okay, at the end of the construction day, you want to board up the windows. Okay, so nobody can get in and out, because things happen. Like somebody could break into your house, right? You've heard the stories. They break into your house and they get hurt and they sue you. Okay, and now it's a lien against the property. And they sue you for $10,000, right? So when you go to sell, guess what? You got to pay that lien. You got to satisfy that lien that was placed against that property. So you want to have peace of mind. You want to secure your properties, even alarm systems. There's a company, you can take this down, that doesn't tie you down to a contract. I actually had a judgment put against me once. There was a alarm system company, and the guys that I partnered with on this deal, one of the guys did not call to cancel the alarm system. Okay, so there was this rolling bill, like $600, and I ended up taking a brunt of that. I ended up paying it off, but there's a company called Simple Safe, SIMPLI, safe. No contracts, is self-installed kit, real simple, just like the name. And you don't have to worry about like being tied down to a contract or something like that. But that's who I use, and that's who I recommend other folks use. Now, during a construction site, especially like demo, you can use like the Ring. Like Ring is really popular. They have a construction security kit with cameras and everything. So you can use Ring. All right, let's go back to the text here. It was some clear out all items. Yep. A lot of people are on the same page. Aaron says, and I know Aaron. Aaron's out of, I believe, Washington, D.C., rehabs houses, probably drywall, electrical wiring, and plumbing. Yes, depending on the type of rehab, more of a cosmetic rehab, where you're not really focusing on structure. If it's a house that was built probably after 1970, you're probably not going to have much work to do unless there's fire damage, things of that nature. But the older homes, you definitely want to update your electrical, your plumbing. You may want to add bathrooms, move tubs, make it more modern, or even in some markets, people are really going above and beyond, going into the future of how they're setting up these houses now. It's really cool to see, like, when you start following the architectural social media pages and seeing what they're doing in Canada, seeing what they're doing in on the West Coast. And then you kind of bounce around like the different markets. Like if you go to like Rochester, New York, some of the houses that are being renovated there look like the renovations that we were doing here 10 years ago. Okay. So, it's really good to stay up on the times in regards to, style, like what's in, what's not in. I want to talk about mindset, right? And this, I hope, I don't mean to offend anybody here, but mindset plays a big part in this business, and as an entrepreneur, right? And I'm not gonna say any names. I do receive texts, and you got to understand, I've been in this business since 2002. I've been teaching and coaching since 2007. So these responses that I'm going to share with you, I've been hearing since my early 20s. Okay, I've been hearing I get these questions since my early 20s. Okay, one of the biggest things I hear from people that want to get started in real estate is they say that they broke. Okay, when you tell someone that's in the business, I'm gonna tell you what we immediately think. When you say I'm broke, there's a couple of things that we think. Number one, your mindset isn't where it needs to be. That's number one. Number two, you're assuming that we have something to sell you, which we do most of the time. Number three, you're looking for something free. Okay. That's what like all my buddies in this business, women and men that do this business, that are in the business of teaching people, when we hear that word, that's what we think, okay, of you when you send it to us. And it's not because you're a bad person or things of that nature, it's just you haven't been enlightened yet. There's another level of thinking that you must get to, right? This is what, if you're one of those people that believe you're broke, okay, whether it's the money in your bank account or your current financial situation, you have to understand nobody can change that but you. You have to change that. So we're in 2022. When I started teaching in 2007, there were not as many resources out here to make money. So unless you can't speak, unless you can't sit up in the bed, you're bedridden, like you're laying flat and you're incapacitated, there is really no excuse in 2022 to be broke, because you have all these mobile apps. If you got to do Uber all day, well, if you got to make some money, you're broke, do Uber. If you don't want to do Uber, they got DoorDash. Okay, there's so many different ways to make money, to get out of that broke state. All right. The other thing that I hear, I sent out a text. I said, hey, the podcast is tonight, 8:00. Somebody asked me, how much does it cost? Okay. It's a podcast. It's free. This is a community that we're creating. This is the only free resource that I offer outside of my master classes. Okay. So I want you all, as you move forward, because this is the other thing I see. Everybody wants to rehab houses. Like when people talk about real estate, the biggest thing people want to do, people are most attracted to, is rehabbing houses. I need y'all to understand this. Rehabbing houses is capital intensive, okay? Whether you're using somebody else's money or using your own money, you are going to be spending thousands of dollars, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of dollars, depending on the marketplace that you will be operating in. All right, every market is different, but you will be spending tens to hundreds to millions of dollars investing in these houses. So your mindset has to be totally different when you're going into a rehab project. Okay, there is no more, I'm broke. You can't just say I'm broke in the middle of a rehab project. Okay, and it comes with personal growth and development, you know, getting out of that mindset, listening to podcasts like this, okay, joining master classes, getting into some type of group coaching or one-on-one coaching program, getting around people that maybe had that mindset. I've had a broke mindset before, and how I fixed that was I put myself into action. When you start moving forward, again, if you are one of those people that say that they're broke, understand the only person that can get you out of it, truly get you out of it, because it's a mindset, is you. So start working on that mindset, start changing the way you think. One of my early mentors, Les Brown, had said it best. He said, the moment I stopped thinking I was broke is the moment I changed things. He said, somebody asked me, asked me something about money. He said, instead of telling them I was broke, I said I was having cash flow problems. That's it. He wasn't broke, because y'all not broke, right? You're just having cash flow problems. And how do you get cash flow coming in? You got to move in action. You got to start taking action. So I just wanted to touch on mindset, and I may make mindset like a segment on our podcast, Freedom of Wealth Seekers podcast. I may go into some personal growth stuff during this. I think I'm definitely going to do that next week. And just like the Direct Mail Wednesday. So this is a mailer, boom, that I received from Skidmore Property Solutions, right? Out of Glen Burnie, Maryland. Pink postcard. It looks like they actually did this themselves, probably at their dining room table. This is handwritten, so they definitely, this is like ink from an ink pen. They definitely wrote this at home. So this is somebody that went to Staples or Office Depot or ordered these off of Amazon, and they got a book of stamps and they started mailing out postcards. Now, the property that they sent this to is a property I own that is actually being sold right now. Is vacant, needs rehab, and it's on free and clear. So it does show me that people are actually out here doing the business, which I love, because the market's good. When the market's always good when you're wholesaling houses. Whether the market is up or down, guess what? There's still deals out there. Okay, there's still deals out there. So this is what they say, right? They say we are currently. They say hello, and they write out my LLC. So I'm going to give them some advice on that. So they write out my LLC, and they say we are currently buying houses in your area. If you are interested in selling your property at East Lafayette Avenue, please contact Ralph at 410-370-5388 at your earliest convenience. Thank you. Okay. Real personal. Okay. Ralph probably wrote this, right? The only thing Ralph didn't do here, everything is perfect here. The only thing he did not do is put my name. So if he'd have put my name, even if I actually sold this property to a childhood friend of mine, but if he'd have put my name, it'd have been a little more personable. And I would have looked at wow, I would have oh, this person's serious. They did some research to find out who owned the LLC. Sometimes that the smallest little thing breaks you apart from the competitor. Okay. the smallest little thing. And people like myself, we appreciate diligent individuals, people that are willing to go the extra mile. But this, all in all, is a good postcard. It's bright, it sticks out. It's a pink postcard, right? It's short, to the point. He tells us what he's doing. We are currently buying houses. That the first word is key. He made it bigger than himself. If it is a team of people working together, but it gives you the percent. Remember, going back to Will Smith and Chris Rock, it gives you the perception. Perception is everything. It gives us the perception that it's a team of people. We're buying houses in your area. If you're interested in selling your property at the address, please contact Ralph. And it looks like a cell phone number. At your earliest convenience, thank you. And then they put like a smiley face at the bottom, which was kind of cute. But simple postcard, folks. Amazon. See how much 300 of these cost you, right? I just gave you what to write on it. You can use exactly what Ralph said. You go to uspropertysearch.com, download a list, mail 300 leads, that phone will ring. Okay. So that's this week's segment of Direct Mail Wednesday. I'm looking forward to the next segment next week. And we're going to incorporate mindset. Want to go into some real estate news really quick. I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. So it's an article that I wanted to share. And this is a resource as well that you all can probably benefit from. The Real Deal New York Real Estate News. Well, they don't just cover New York, they cover news all over the country. This was an article that was published March 29th. It says home price upswing started 2022, where 2021 left off. Top 20 cities saw increased annual sales in January by the Case-Shiller Index. They track data, and it goes into saying, what percentage home sales are right now. And it also goes into some of the cities. So they mention Phoenix, they mention 2 cities in Florida, Miami and Tampa. So again, when I read an article, right, I look for the nuggets in the article. So they said the headline say, top 20 cities. So what I want to do, I'm going to give you all some strategy, right, is I want to find out where those top cities are, those top 20 cities, right? And then I'm going to go into uspropertysearch.com. I'm going to look up the sales activity, all the properties that sold in those cities cash. Okay, those cities. So if it's Tampa, Florida, I'm going to look to see how many properties sold cash in the last 12 months, because those cash sales, I'm also going to, let me go back. I'm not just going to look at the cash sales. I'm going to look at a specific type of cash sale, because in these big cities, y'all have to realize something. You're dealing with investors, real estate, individual investors like myself. You're dealing with hedge funds, okay? So these are huge Wall Street funds that are buying residential real estate. And you're also dealing with the homeowners that pay cash. There are people that are buying properties anywhere from $150 to $3 million cash, depending on the marketplace. So I want to see how much the individual investors are purchasing the properties for. And these are going to be absentee owners. These are going to be LLCs, trusts, corporations that own these properties. So inside of uspropertysearch.com, I can separate all that data. I can separate the homeowners from the investors, and I want the investor sales, right? So I'll look at that. But the nugget is, okay, there's 20 top cities, right? Do I want to start at the top of the list, or do I want to start at the bottom, or somewhere in the middle? We'll figure that out once we've done our market research and we see the activity. But here's the nugget. Looking at the little zip codes, the small towns and counties outside of those 20 cities, right outside those 20 cities, or 10 to 30 miles down the road, doing some research on those markets. Because understand this, the bigger the market, the more competition. The smaller the market, the less competition. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But folks, I think we went over 11 minutes, episode 14, episode 15 next week. I think we had a really great episode tonight. I appreciate all of you all for logging on. This is a growing community. I'm looking forward to growing with you all. Don't forget, I'm still giving away my Flop to Flip wholesaling e-manual. I'm giving away my GPS guide ebook. I'm giving away the Flop to Flip wholesaling training tutorials. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel, REI Inner Circle, hit subscribe, start ringing the bell as new content will be uploaded throughout the month. So you can see that content first. Like the podcast video, comment under one of the podcast videos, send me a screenshot via text. It comes right to my phone. And then what I'll do is I'll look at the screenshots and I'll ask you for your email. And then I'm personally forwarding you the ebook, the e-manual, and the training. All right. So folks, take care. I look forward to seeing you at the closing table very, very soon. Some big announcements are coming up. I can't wait to share. Bye-bye.